Welcome back. In this week's Tech Watch, it is getting harder to tell what's real and what's AI. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. YouTube is now trying to make it easier for viewers to know the difference, and the company has unveiled a new AI labeling system.
We're moving the disclosure label for photorealistic or meaningfully altered content. For long-form videos, the label is moving from the description to a prominent spot just below the player. And for shorts, it'll be an overlay right on the video itself.
CNET editor-at-large Scott Stein joins us right now. Scott, thanks for your time today. So creators are already responsible for tagging their AI content. What is YouTube adding here that's so special or different?
Well, it's trying to really jump ahead and give you an actual label to identify it. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But the label, if it's, again, as Renee Ritchie had described in that video, if it's using significantly altered content per what Google identifies, then it will be labeled with AI right at the top part of the descriptor heading in a long form, but also overlaid directly on the video in short form. I think that's helpful, but it does raise some interesting questions for where I see it going down the road, which is that we see so many AI tools, including those made by Google, to make work and other things flow faster. And I think the level of AI that gets into work is going to get really fuzzy. Is something completely AI generated? Is it edited with AI? How will we know the degree? And so this almost feels more like a stamp that people will recognize as AI, AI or real or fake or real. But where do you find the nuance in between? Also, how will you know which parts have been altered, which is one of the parts that I also think is becoming an issue as we watch videos. Yeah,
all some very important points that you bring up there. I want to ask you about Spotify because they're now letting people use AI to create personal podcasts. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so this is kind of falling right in line with some things that we've already seen. Google has Notebook LM that makes realistic podcast discussions of your content. Alexa Plus has some podcast type discussions. This is meant to be something that gives you kind of a brief combining information that you'd want to listen to. The question here is, of course, how does that compete with or enable the other podcasts from people who are looking to make money off podcasts and get their voices heard? Spotify doing this, is it going to take over the feed, or is it going to help amplify other voices that are out there? I think this almost feels like a dimension of what's going on with AI in search, where you'll find summaries of things that other people have done. And then you wonder, well, how do I get the original article? How do I get the click back to the actual site that had it?
Yeah.
I don't know how this works yet, but it's going to roll out to premium subscribers. I hope that it helps you discover stuff that's out there and link to it versus just suck up information and replace it.
Because we already have enough information out there. There's just so much going on. It's hard to just keep my mind or wrap my mind around it. So finally, let's talk about Apple, because they may be preparing mysterious new over-ear headphones.
Yeah, this is just an early hint from an FCC filing that had been pointed out online. And, it's hard to tell when this would be or where this would be. But I think it's interesting because whether or not this turns into something from Beats or Apple, because they two headphone brands basically kind of under one roof, Apple is expected to be making camera-enabled AirPods this fall that are going to have some AI functionality. I wonder whether over-ear headphones might start adding cameras too. This is just speculation, but I saw something like that at CES this past January, made by Razer and Qualcomm. The answer might be, the question, in fact, not the answer, the question might be for what exactly? Why would you need that AI? But maybe as a way to get to AI assistance without wearing glasses, which is what a lot of other companies are doing right now.
Gosh. I'm sure you have so much on your brain there when it comes to all these new things or technology that's coming out. So we appreciate you making the time for us on 24/7 to walk us through them. Scott Stein, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you.